All right, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:01. If everyone could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And we'll go into roll call. Mr. Lincoln is not here. Mr. Kegg. Here. Mr. Shaver. Here. Barely. What you got here? Mr. Becker. Here. Mr. Wirt is not here. Ms. Bressler.
Here.
Ms. Drobnik.
Here.
Mayor Kegg.
Here.
Mr. Murray.
Here.
Borough Council held an executive session on Wednesday, October 18th, 2023 at 6:00 p.m. to discuss potential acquisition of real property and potential litigation matters. We have no agenda amendments coming out of executive session. So at this time, I will actually move. Let's do the commendation first before public comment. So at this time, I've known the Hinsey family for a while now. I've known Shelby she was my intern for 4 years with Reading United. And for some reason, she kept coming back year after year. And then I got to know you guys. And I asked the mayor to allow me to do a commendation because of you guys. And, you know, last year when we had the noise issues across the river, sorry, Rich. You guys really made me hone in on it because you guys have been West Reading lifers. And when you were talking about potentially leaving West Reading, that stung because of what you guys have meant to West Reading. And part of that is through Randall. So we do have a commendation for the family in remembrance of Randall. So the commendation says, whereas Randall Hinsey Sr. served his community as a member of Borough Council from January of 1996 to December of 2003, and served as Council Vice President in 2003. Mr. Hinsey then served as a Board of Director member of the West Reading Main Street Authority from January of 2004 to September of 2005. And whereas Randall Hinsey Sr. demonstrated an unwavering commitment towards making the borough of West Reading a better place to live, work, and play, while being instrumental to shaping the Penn Avenue Streetscape project. And whereas Randall Hinsey Sr. has exemplified outstanding community service with honesty and integrity through his public service to the residents and taxpayers of the borough of West Reading. Now, therefore, I, Ryan Lineweaver, Council President of West Reading Borough, on behalf of the residents and council members, do hereby recognize, give special tribute, and commend most highly Randall Hinsey Sr. for his outstanding contributions to the borough of West Reading. As a token of gratitude, I bestow this commendation for all of his efforts towards improving our community. And I believe that Cindy also happened to dig out the name. Gladly have that for you.
Yeah, quick, quick. We got it. All right, 1, 2, 3. Got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so at this time, I will open the floor to public comment. Mr. Rogers.
Bring up the date of the business privilege act and have a conversation with David people in collect. And I question in regards to the Franklin Manor apartment complex, which has changed hands. And the new owner, and he informed me that the new owner is doing paperwork as of September, so that's in the system. But I questioned him also on the fact that since they were such a bad in the past, found out, when I, it's been 20 some years, that didn't pay anything, having license. Did you make any payment, maybe even a partial one for this year? He doesn't have record of that. Although he does have, they did send out the notice, and that will be forwarded to the former owner in Jersey. I said, well, I will send you the information, but it's also in Texas. So at least that part of the system is functioning. Whether or not we get any of that money remains to be seen until the end of this year. Probably to find out if everybody paid and cost reference that information.
Sure.
Or at least that's what.
Thanks, Jim. Anyone else for public comment? Anyone online? No, it's just Jeanette. Okay. All right, I will close the floor to public comment at this time and move into the approval of the minutes. So in front of you, you have the September 19th regular meeting, the September 26th conditional use hearing and budget meeting, and also the October 7th budget meeting. So take a moment, and when you're ready, looking for consideration to approve all three of those minutes. Looking for a motion when you're ready.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Keg,
Second.
second by Ms. Drobnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to ordinances and resolutions. You have ordinance 1175, which is consideration of adopting an amendment to relocate a handicap parking space within the 100 block of Tulpehocken Avenue. I think it moved like 4 or 5 spots. We put this out for advertisement at the last meeting, so now looking for consideration to adopt.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler,
Second.
second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to resolution 2023-22, which is a new road closure policy. Dean, do you want to dive into that a bit?
So this is something that the police side was actually opening up and checking into. Anytime that contractors want to come in and shut down a roadway to do obviously utility work in the street and need to shut the block down, we're wanting them to fill out a road closure request. We can't keep having them shut down similar streets like Franklin and Chestnut down at the same time, or Franklin when Penn Avenue's shut down or diverted with traffic issues. So Sergeant Marks at the time when he was OIC wanted to look into this, and we just brought it forward. So
Does anybody have any questions in regards to the road closure policy? Seeing none, looking for a motion.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Keg,
Second.
second by Ms. Drobnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Then resolution 2023-23, which is the extension of the local disaster emergency for RM Palmer. Looking for adopting the extension, which will carry through to the Tuesday, November 21st council meeting.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Drobnik,
Second.
second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to consultants reports. Dan, you have anything for us?
No, sir.
All right, so we'll move on to the engineers report. Pamela.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. The first item, there's a little bit of a condition I need to add. KT and Chip Pernice and I were talking earlier this week, and they did not submit all their closure paperwork, and they have a couple payment markings, which KT told me is gonna happen tomorrow. So I'd like a conditional motion that they satisfy everything in the contract, so we don't have to put it on the November agenda. That way, H&K get their money when everything's satisfied. So that's my recommendation. They did a great job. They were very cognizant of the issues in the alley, and they repaired everything to everybody's satisfaction. So in good faith, that's would be my recommendation to council for consideration.
All right. Do we want to talk about that action item then? So consideration to approve the first and final payment application to H&K Group Incorporated for the 2023 road projects totaling $314,341.81 with the condition that they satisfy the contract prior to payment. There we go. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, looking for a motion on that.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik. Second by Mr. Keg. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
No update on the Green Light Go grant. I'm expecting the grant paperwork hopefully will get started as soon as we receive that. Action item, we looked back at the minutes with Cindy's help and Dean's help. And Dan, I don't recall that we've actually awarded the contract to BSGI because we had that issue with the co-stars, so we had to discuss the co-stars and we didn't need to bid it. So I think I was all excited about that we didn't have to bid. So maybe in that excitement, I forgot to recommend the action. So tonight, because we can't find any meeting minutes.
That was ever approved. Okay,
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'd like the action.
but it is CoStar.
Yes, they are, and I just have to make sure that I put co-stars on every piece of paper and send it to for reimbursement, and that's easy peasy. Get the template set up and we'll be good to go.
I think the last action we took on this was last March when we submitted the LSA grant, so.
So I'm great and bringing it forward. Let's get that motion for the
Sure.
grant amount of $264,750. So the official award is on the books.
All right, so action item number 3, consideration to award Berkshire Systems Group Incorporated with co-stars, the Borough Hall Police Department and Penn Avenue Security Camera Upgrades Contract in the amount of $264,750 and to permit the borough manager over here to execute relevant contract documents. Obviously, this was the LSA grant that we applied for last year. It'll add to security camera improvements along Penn Avenue, upgrading them to 4K cameras, upgrading camera storage, things like that. Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Keg, second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
On the other local shared account grant, because of course, an update that was recently discussed, so I guess there isn't any interest to apply for another grant. I mean, it's so quick, it's.
Yeah, it's not this year. We'll follow up again on the next.
Sure, another round next year. This one was no match, so that's why we were trying to make sure all our
Right.
clients were very aware of the difference with this round. So I'll keep you all posted on the next round.
Gotcha.
No action on the pickleball court at this time. Talking to Chad before the meeting, the doors apparently are now in manufacture out of design, right?
Yes.
That's exciting. So one step closer to the new door. And I think we'll all have to go down and press buttons and see how it works.
Do they have a rough projected install date?
That
I can reach out to Ben tomorrow.
So then the other two doors would be replaced then into another. Ann Street, no update. The parking lot, no update. Okay, now we get to the fun. So Dan, I need your assistance.
Sure,
Were the bids reviewed by your office?
They- they were.
Okay, and,
They're fine.
okay, so the low bidder.
The low bidder was fine.
Low bidder documents were all
That's correct.
wonderful. Now that that's approved, we can move towards which bid you want to consider. So option 1 was the option where the contractor pays for everything. Okay, option 2 was the one where the borough pays for the disposal fees. So after we opened the bids, I believe it was earlier Tuesday, I sent another spreadsheet to Cindy that you should have in your packets. And that compares those transfer rates. And there's a difference using, Carrie told me, the per ton amount. And then adding the base bid into it. So option 1 is the amount of $1,607,100. Option 2, which is the borough pays disposal, adding in what we recently did. Carrie said it was like 1,700 tons pretty consistently. So we had to add that in for 3 years at the different disposal rates. We used 85, 90 and $95. 85, 90 and $95 per ton. And you add that in, and it's $1,552,500. So that's a cumulative difference for the 3 years of 54,600. But that's based on an estimated tonnage. We can't guarantee that. We don't know if people are gonna be better stewards of recycling, or if they're gonna stay with their bad habits and keep putting things in the trash. So I have to put the numbers out there for you guys, so you can make the decision.
The other thing you'd have to consider is how well the bulk pickup goes. If we're looking at the bulk pickup, we don't know what that's gonna do, just as a food for thought. If
And
that really takes off, they're in the tonnage or not. If it don't, I mean, it's just food for thought.
yeah, because we don't know how much tonnage in the
Yes.
bulk pickup, but to tell everybody about the bulk pickup, the rates that they gave you are phenomenal. So if you do want to clean out your basement, I suggest you do. Yeah, I mean, seriously. When I got them, I emailed Cindy right away and I said, wow, what a deal. So you're looking at, I'm sorry, I have to get to that. $3
3, 5,
for the
and 10.
small bulk item, $5 for the medium, and $10 for your monster sofa. I mean, think about the one with the pull-out. $10.
Wow.
$10. So Carrie's right. We don't know what the bulk is gonna do, especially with these very awesome costs. So I had no data to put into the
Yeah, and I understand.
charts.
Something we,
For that.
waters we never treaded in before.
Correct, but it is a phenomenal cost. For the residents' benefit. So, that's what I have.
Okay, so there are 2 options that are 3-year options. Those are options 1 and 2. And then options 3 and 4 were the 1-year options. Both of them, option 3 was the hauler pays, option 4 was the borough pays for disposal.
And I did analyze those. It's more expensive. For option 3 versus option 1 and option 4 versus option 2. So I did that analysis for you as well, just in case.
Does anybody have any questions?
Have one. And it would pertain, if we go where they pay, do we then need a contract still with the landfill for us to haul when I need to haul?
Yes.
Okay.
That's above and beyond the contract.
Yes,
That's different.
Yes, I didn't know how that worked. I was ignorant, so I figured yes.
Okay. So for the hauler paying, JP Mascaro came in at $2,561,306.40 for option 1. That's for years 2024 through 2026 for the hauler pays. Hollenbaugh came in at a little over 1.6 million. That was $1,607,100. Then you can see the extension years afterwards are quite pricey as well. But those are a little over 900,000 and over 560,000 for Hollenbaugh. When the borough pays, we're looking at $1,962,532.80 for JP Mascaro versus $1,093,500 for Hollenbaugh, which is approximately, if you divide that by 3, is about $346,500 a year. That gives you an idea. Obviously, Mascaro would be much higher than that. Yeah, like double. And then option 3, that gave us 1 year just for this upcoming year, where the hauler pays. And then option 4 gave us 1 year where the borough pays. And you can see what those amounts are. And that actual 1 year for 2024 is higher. That came in at $347,400. So it is actually $900 more than the 3-year contract. And then you can see that it bumps up to $432,900 the following year, then $475,650 the year after that. If we decide to extend it, which pretty big chunks. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the options that are out there? do we have any opinion versus the 1 versus the 3-year?
Obviously makes more sense to do the 3-year because we're getting it cheaper for obvious reasons.
For a longer period.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm shocked at the difference between the two, between JP versus.
That was the same as the last bid opening, which is.
It's $1 million. It's almost $1 million.
It was, yeah, they basically didn't change anything.
That's a huge difference.
Okay. Are we all agreeing then on option 2, 2024 through 2026, where the borough contracts for disposal fees? And we will have that in time for next month, I would believe. Between either Burke's transfer or elsewhere.
Well, Burke's transfer, I think, is committed at the.
Okay.
rates.
Well, but we have to go through the bidding.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
right.
so all he's saying is that it'd be ready to go out for bid so we can award before the end.
Yes,
Yep.
we'd like,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, option 2.
Next week.
Authorize,
Get the permission to put it out.
right, so you can do that tonight if that's the option you go with. I would suggest you do that tonight.
Okay.
We can do that.
They need to amend the agenda.
And
Oh,
we
it's
would
not
have,
on the agenda?
then we'd have to
No.
amend
Oh,
it
then just
to-
put it on for next month.
That's
Next
what I
week,
was-
next
yeah.
week, that's
Let's
fine.
do that.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
it's gonna be next week.
Any other questions on that? Am I wrong in my opinion that option 2, where we pay, save money, and then have it for 3 years? Is that what I'm gathering here? I'm
Yep.
nodding his head.
And encourage the residents to be smart about what they've put in. Some effort, website updating, some other things. See if we can get that 1,700 tons down. That will be a bigger savings for you folks.
Sure. Okay, so in that case. Looking to consider the accepting of the Hollenbaugh trash and recycling bid for option 2 in the amount of $1,093,500 for years 2024 through 2026, with 2 extension years added on. In the amounts of $398,700 and $432,900. The bids, I read off which bids we had. I'm not quite sure if you're, what you're asking.
You actually have to acknowledge that you have received those bids and then take your action.
He has done that. He's acknowledged it. Are you asking for them to make a motion to accept the bids that have been submitted?
Well, I thought he-
Yeah, I don't think you have to. I think it's protocol. They often will do that. You accept, these 2 bids have been accepted. And then you can award bid after that. I don't think it's necessary to do that. We've already discussed those 2 bids. But if you want to do that on the record, that for purposes of clarifying, you're accepting the 2 bids that have been submitted,
And selecting.
right?
Okay.
And take your action.
Let's amend the action item then for consideration to accept all bids received for the collection of transportation of solid waste and recyclable materials, and select Hollenbaugh's trash and recycling option 2 for years 2024 through 2026, with extension years of 2027 and 2028. Is that better?
Sounds
I
good.
think I encompassed everything. Okay, looking for a motion on that then.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik, second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
So I will add to my engineer's report for the November 21st council meeting that we're going to need the authorization for the disposal bids.
Okay.
Attachment 3 are the flow monitoring reports that we include monthly for you folks. For the Pine Street, I know every time we update it, now it's not expected until the end of the year with the government budget issues. And for zoning and code planning commission, no updates. And then what I did for narrow fabrics or any other dates that are going to be important, I'm going to do an important date at the end of my report, so it shows you tickle items that we need to pay attention to. In this case, it's a maintenance period that's not until 2025. So I'm not going to remember that. It's on paper, we'll remember it. So that way, you know, if Dan has an important date, or, you know, pertaining to my report too, those kind of things. Slip between the cracks so frequently, so we try to do that. Okay,
All right.
but otherwise that's it. So
Any other questions for Ms. Pamela?
No.
Seeing none, looking for approval of the engineer's report.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler,
Second.
second by Ms. Drobnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thank you. You too.
First.
You too.
See you. Thank you.
All right, we'll move into my report. And right now, the only thing I have is to welcome Mark. Mark is our junior council person. Welcome. You don't have to stand up or anything, but you can introduce yourself.
Well, it's great to meet everyone. My name is Mark Handy, Asian American second year student at Kutztown University. I major in political science, which drew my attention towards being the junior counsel for West Reading Borough. What I want to do with that, honestly, is go to law school. Got big plans to serve in public policy, public interest as well. So getting this experience as a junior council member definitely will be helpful in the future. And that's a little bit about myself.
I'm sure Dan will try to sway you towards municipal soliciting.
Absolutely.
All right. Anybody have anything for Mark?
Welcome.
Welcome, Mark.
Guys, welcome.
Mark.
Happy to get that up and off the ground. And like I said, if you have questions or anything, you are more than welcome to participate in discussion. You just can't vote. So, yep. So if you have questions or want anything answered, feel free.
I have a question. So let's just say, I'm just asking, let's just use the engineer's report. Can I just speak out what I have to like? Sorry.
Is that Mr. Tucci?
I apologize. I was trying to get something set up. Sorry.
Sorry, Mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, so when I would have a question about one of the reports, do I have to like have a motion, or can I just like go out?
We don't trip over each other when we all have something to say. We all respect each other's time. So we would do the same with you.
Just wait for a break in the sentence. That's usually when I jump in.
Yeah, feel free.
But that's all I have for you.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
All right. Well, welcome, Mark. That's all that I have for my council president's report. Do we have any questions? Otherwise, looking for a motion to accept.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Drobnik. Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Dino, you're up.
Good evening, everybody. I only have 2 action items so far for you. First action item is consideration to execute a bill of sale with the American Developers and Investors LLC for the facilities and equipment located on Elm Street and Cashmere Way, north portion constructed to serve the narrow fabric subdivision and intended to be dedicated to the borough. This is just the finalization part that we didn't finish with, so just finalizing it, getting the streets up there
For the Belovich.
for
construction.
Belovich.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions on that action item? Otherwise, looking for approval. So moved. Motion made by Mr. Keg,
Second.
second by Ms. Drobnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Second action item, consideration of authorizing the borough solicitor to revise the parking lot management agreement with Back Nine Realty. Just a little background. So we found there was some glitches in the previous contract with the management agreement up there. So we fixed those going forward, and that's where we're at now. So I just need Dan to go over it.
Does anybody have any questions? Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Drobnik. Second by Mr. Keg. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
And last thing, Mayor, did Mark Camlin from up on the avenue reach out to you about a street closure?
He did not. No.
Okay, then the s'mores event will not have a road closure. So the event can still happen along the avenue. It just won't happen with the
Yeah.
road shut down. Okay.
Well, they also didn't submit a.
Yeah, the event form, I
Event
didn't
form,
get
I
that
know.
yet, so.
Okay. Any other questions on Dean's report? All right, otherwise looking for approval. Motion made by Mr. Keg,
Second.
second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the mayor's report.
So I don't have a formal mayor's report because I was not sure if I was going to be here tonight or not. So is it okay to give a verbal one?
I do it all the time.
Okay. So just to point out, September 20th was Dean's 2-year job anniversary as officially the borough manager. So congrats, Dean. You've done
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. It did go by fast. And I'm still here.
October 6th, we had an event committee meeting. October 7th, we had the free market that EAC, I'm sure will elaborate further on. It was very good. Yesterday and the day before, myself, Ty Gardner, and Patrick went and cleaned up the memorial and swapped out the flags with Denise's permission. Ty's looking to get together a veteran community to help take care of the memorial, and pairing with potentially like Berks Armed Forces. So maybe that could kind of help recreation. We'll chat more then. But other than that, I really don't have anything. So thank you, guys.
Any questions on the mayor's report? Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to department reports. Chief Jornelli.
I don't have anything other than the report submitted, unless there are any questions.
Do we have any questions on the police department report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
How you liking the job so far?
It's awesome. I love it.
The answer is too quick.
Less calls at 3 a.m.
That's perfect. I
Yeah.
like it.
Looking for approval of the police department report then.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Keg,
Second.
second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to public works. KT.
You just have a copy of my report. If anything, any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. I can tell you, I met today with Newcastle. I am going to turn that land over to them on next Friday. I have all the catch basins in, all the storm lines ran. I have it, the sidewalk set. I have to frame it off, and I have concrete coming next Wednesday. So I met with them today. They're excited. We made a few other changes to help with the area down there, but hopefully they'll be getting started in the next couple of weeks down there. And we secured Elba. Put the window in for Elba. Picked up 22 trees today, so we'll probably start planting someday next week.
When did you guys actually start the project down there at the catch basins, whatnot?
Last council meeting, I started the week after that.
Wow, that's fast.
Yeah, they did. They hustled. I was happy with them. And it's a good call. So we're gonna make sure they had time. He told me he needed by the end of October, first week of November to do what he needed to do. So
And Mark, just so you know, we're talking about a site for the memorial garden for the R.M. Palmer explosion back in March.
Oh, was that the house that exploded? Oh,
It was
I'm
the-
talking about a different incident.
And it's down by where we're proposing to put it is down by the fire company, right where the bridge, the walking bridge that goes across the creek, right there next to it.
Yeah, just to.
and I have
Yeah,
two storm engineers who tell me this will not fail.
Good.
So if not, we get two engineers. to
There
look
we
at it.
go.
I did go above where the curb lines are. I dug down a couple feet and stuck stone in. Instead of them putting grass in, I talked them into putting river rock, so that also gives them a point for like a French drain almost.
Perfect.
Cool. Any questions on the Public Works Department report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik. Second by Mr. Keg. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, on to the fire department. Chad.
You all have a copy of my fire report. We still have an engine for sale if you know anybody. Other than that, I don't have anything to add to my report, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Casey didn't sell it.
Yeah, Casey didn't sell it.
I can try.
KT, yeah.
I'm shocked that nobody's reached out.
I've had some people reach out, just nobody who submitted.
Do we have any questions on the fire department report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver,
Second.
second by Ms. Dropnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to codes. Chad.
All right, once again, you'll have a copy of the code report. The only thing I have to bring up there is that the Bryce compliance engine is up and running. It went live October 1st. So it's still in its infancy phases. The more and more inspections that get done by third parties, the more of an asset it becomes. But there are some reports that I pulled off of it just for this month, just so you can see kind of how the reports look from that, and to give you an idea of what I get in terms of what inspections were done and what places were found to have deficiencies or be compliant. Have any questions about the code report? I'd be happy to answer.
You have any questions on the code department report? Seeing none, looking for approval. Motion made by Ms. Bressler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keg. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, on to the WRCRF report. You have that in front of you. Obviously, Fall Fest was extremely successful. They had the most vendors ever. Once again, including the 400 block was packed almost all the way down, which was really, that was the first time I've seen it like that in any Fall Fest that I've attended. So bigger and better every single year. Speaking of bigger and better, they had the Fête en Blanc on October the 7th. And what they hope to be a yearly tradition. They're still working on the lighting grant and the gateway grant. They're hoping to start that project in spring of 2024. And Mark is actually, CRF is applying for that LSA grant previously discussed for their own needs in November. And yeah, that's about it for WRCRF. Does anybody have any questions on their report? Seeing none, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, on to committee and commission reports. First up, the EDI task force. Jen?
No report.
All right, so we will move on to the Recreation Commission, and we'll start with Mike.
You all have a copy of my report in front of you. Haunted house was this past weekend, a little soggy, but a nice run through. Had some people scared. I do have an action item for this evening. I wanted to get a jump start on things for the tree lighting ceremony. So my action item is, consideration to approve a partial closure of Delaney Circle for the tree lighting ceremony on Friday, December 1st, 2023, from 5 to 8 p.m. There's a picture of the diagram. It's going to be virtually in essence the same thing as last year with the circle closure, in order to keep our performers and patrons attending safe.
Okay. Last meeting, we discussed road closures and it fell under the mayor. Does this still, Dan, fall under the mayor for partial road closure of Delaney Circle?
Yeah.
Okay, we can table that then. You got it?
Yeah.
All
The
right.
event though falls under.
The event does fall under us, but they submit an event report.
Yeah.
Event.
Last year's report, it was that, so that's why.
No, we don't need a thing for our borough tree lighting, correct?
An event thing, you mean?
An event.
Because
form.
council already approved the event.
Yeah, it
right,
got
yeah.
approved at the beginning of the year as a list.
Benchmark for an event for 150 people.
Mhm.
Nobody under. Okay. Anything else, Mike?
Just this weekend, we have hay rides and haunted house again. That'll close that out. Tree lighting on the 1st, and pretty much it.
All right, Denise, anything to add from the commission itself?
No, I think that kind of covers it. Working on plans for next year,
All right. Don't forget about the Dia de los Muertos parade on
right? The pep parade.
November 4th. Bring the butts.
Yes, Tina, if any of the Avenue businesses would like to participate or have dog treats ready that day, we'll be parading at 1 o'clock.
It's a Sunday, right?
It's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
Yes. So, thank you.
All right, any questions on the rec commission report? Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Shaver, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And speaking of anniversaries, congratulations, Mike, on making it 1 year here in the borough. 1 year today, right?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
What's today's?
18.
Today's the 18th, and if I forgot that, my wife would kill me, so.
Yeah, just
I
anniversary.
should have included that in my report.
Anniversary.
I'm here on my anniversary, so
I know.
I'd like to get out of here by 8.
Oh, yeah, she's on, isn't she?
That Miss Line Weaver.
Look at that. What time?
And there's Sydney.
There's Sydney. All right, let's move on to the planning commission report, which should breeze by. You can have the report in front of you here. They talked about the form-based codes, continuing on that, as well as everything encompassing that, which goes into signage and zoning districts and frontage types and site frontages. And that's literally all they talked about. So if anybody has any questions on the planning commission report, feel free, but otherwise look for approval.
Moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik,
Second.
second by Ms. Bressler. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And thank you, Jen, and everyone else on the planning commission. That is tedious work.
Yeah.
Tedious. So let's move on to EDC was canceled, EAC was canceled, so we'll move on to traffic and infrastructure. Pat, you're de facto, right?
Are you doing it this week?
I can report on it a little bit. You should have the report in front of you from our last meeting, which was October 11th, my birthday, and I still showed up to the meeting. Oh, no, I didn't show up.
Oh, to the meeting.
It says that you were unable to attend. Why did I turn this over to you?
How could I forget?
Been for weeks.
How could I forget?
I was here on my birthday, I just want that note.
But I will try to report on it, even though I was. One of the things we've been going over is trying to figure out motorcycle permit parking. Trying to figure out, I don't know if you can speak on this, Chief, at all about that discussion, what progress was made in regards to the motorcycle permit parking.
Yeah, I think where we're at now is just trying to figure out how to get the permits on the motorcycles, come up with a universal location to keep them so the officers kind of look in the same place.
Yep.
But other than that, I don't think
Maintaining visibility.
yeah, there was no opposition to the whole process. It's just a matter of figuring out how those small details are going to work out.
Got it. And then if you have any other questions, please refer to the minutes, or we can find out answers for you at the next meeting.
They did look at traffic checks on 6th Avenue, especially in the area that there's some illegal parking for takeout food. So that was discussed with some recommendations from Chief as well. And then also some of the aggressive driving pedestrian safety detail at 4th and Penn as well. Does anybody have any questions on T&I? Otherwise, looking for approval of the traffic and infrastructure report.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Keg,
Second.
second by Mr. Shaver. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Shade Tree Commission, Pat.
All right, thank you, everyone. You should have the report in front of you from our last meeting, which was October 2nd of this month. We go over our usual of tree removals, tree plantings, tree trimmings, and some trees that we want to keep on our watch list. One of the things that we were talking about this month was keeping an eye on the trees, the larger trees on Sunset and Sycamore. The Public Works Director told us during the meeting that they are planning trimmings on those two roads on Sunset and Sycamore at some point this month, in the next month perhaps. Other than that, you had already touched a little bit earlier about how you got about 20 trees, you said?
22 trees, yeah.
22 trees that we're looking to start planting. I think you had said Ann Street was perhaps one of them.
Ann Street, 600 block of Spruce Street on the hospital side, which you did talk to them, got permission. The 200 block of Franklin Street, Ann Street, and then we have ones that we then are filling in that were missing throughout the place, but them blocks there will be whole blocks.
We're not gonna mess with anything on Ann Street if we get approval for that grant to redo the curbing and sidewalk.
Oh, we'll be fine. They'll be young enough where they won't be
Yeah.
touched.
Just figured.
But other than that, we welcomed our newest member, Mike Hayes, who is actually an arborist. So we look forward to having his professionalism and his expertise on that committee moving forward on how we can do a little bit more extensive, comprehensive planning as to how we want to maintain our trees in our borough. All right, other than that, let me know if you have any questions.
Anything for the Shade Tree Commission? Mr. Rogers, briefly.
Yes. I just noticed recently that the tree was removed from a G&A restaurant. Is there any plans to have any more trees? Probably more trees in Penn Avenue. Since it's, you know, the general business district.
I have 2 for up there already, and that'll be on my next year plan. We just took that one down this year, but I have 2 scheduled. I have 2 planned for Penn Avenue, still on some of them. I'm 100% agreeing with you, but I want to keep them beautified and up. So there's 2 I'm replacing up there, and that one's going to be on my springtime to replace, spring or fall next year.
It's always a nice attraction.
Absolutely.
Especially the business section.
Yep.
Except the ones that were sour grapes years ago, which was a learning process.
The old ginkgos.
Any questions on the Shade Tree report? Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Bressler,
Second?
second by Ms. Dropnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Safety Committee, Dean, still safe?
We are still safe. Today, you don't have a report in front of you because we just had our annual refresher training today. So there'll be a report to follow after this. Those that weren't in attendance will do an online portion of the class to do the refresher training to keep us all where we need to be. And yes, we are still safe.
Glad to hear it. Yeah, make sure that you find them on this table.
I knocked the wood.
Any questions for Safety Committee? Otherwise, looking for approval.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver,
Second.
second by Ms. Dropnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. On to the treasurer's report. Before you, you have the financial statement for the 9 months ending on September 30th. And then you also have payment approval reports for September 20th to October the 13th, and then also October the 14th to the 18th. So take a moment. If you haven't already reviewed, and then looking for a motion to approve the financial statement and payment approval reports.
So moved.
Motion made by Ms. Dropnik,
Second.
second by Mr. Keg. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, I will open up the floor to a second round of public comment. Yes, Tina.
If anybody's seen, I renovated part of my building this year to take advantage of the grant. I understand that Dirks and Edmonds is going to be working on new codes for the business district and hopefully revamping some things. I'd like to make one step as the council on the sign permits. As I renovated, it was brought to my attention from Chad and Elba that sign permits. My signage was just replaced because it was updating. I just redid the logo. So everything was pretty much in place except the perpendicular sign, and the permits were $400. I personally feel $400 is a lot of money. Takes us all time to make $400. If maybe in the future council could consider maybe your first sign is $100, your second one's $50, something like that. But just for replacement, I think $100 is a lot. Also, when it's brand new, it's $100. So, if council would consider something like that.
Yeah, sure. I think we can keep it in mind. Anyone else for public comment?
I do.
Mr. Tucci.
Good evening, all. Sorry, I was dealing with a work emergency where I would have been on earlier. You do have our monthly report, but I do have something nice to report. Back in August, I submitted the R.M. Palmer incident for the Spirit of Courage Award through the Lehigh Valley Burn Foundation, Prevention Foundation. Unbeknownst to us, last night was their event. The first responders from that event, who are all listed in the program, and I will get you a copy of the program, were honored last night for the Chairman's Award through the Burns Prevention. I found out at 5:30 last night that happened. Not happy about it, but we would have had more people there. I did drive up at 5:30 for the event that started at 5. They did a very nice job of letting all the first responders know that we're there. There were 5 City of Reading firefighters that received Spirit of Courage awards, plus our own Dr. Stauffer from Tower Health. He was driving home from an accident to his home in Palmer Township, came across an accident. He was there first, helped extricate the victim, who was a burn victim, and then went to the hospital with him. The only unfortunate part of that is he had his fiance with him in the truck with him. He went to the hospital with the key fob, and she was left on the side of the road. But I wanted to tell you that award was poured out to everyone, and everyone's names were listed in the program.
Great. Obviously, we thank them all for their service.
No, it was just everyone that was involved. It was just another nice adjustment that someone else recognized the things that happened with us in the first responder scene.
That was in the Reading Eagle today.
Unless you have anything for me.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Tucci? All right, seeing none.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Anyone else for public comment? All right, seeing none, I will close the floor and look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Shaver,
Second.
second by Ms. Dropnik. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
It's not
even
even
Everyone?
December.
52 minutes.